everybody, and welcome to another edition of Joe's Rod Shop podcast. Your host, Joe Finsell. Now, before we get started, once again, remember, click that like and subscribe button. Doesn't matter what format you're on or what platform you're watching this on. There's always a like button or a subscribe button, so just click that for us. And if you want, go to our Facebook page and stuff and leave a message. Just to remember, this episode is brought to you by SA Hot Rod Media. If you are trying to get your shop promoted properly online, give us a call. Always happy to help. Also, remember, we are busy with getting everything together for the Rod Shop Season 5. Now, this is a great platform. If you've got a shop, get your show out on TV, show people exactly what you do. For all of this, go to our website, sahotrods.com. There's a button that says, I want to be on the show, or I want to be on the TV show, or help me promote my company. Go click on those, send us a message, and talk to us, and we can get you guys out there. All right, now, on to today's show. Now, I was never a big fan of Cobras, but over the last few years, they've really started growing on me. But now, if you're interested in driving an AC Cobra, but you don't want to buy one yet, you just want to go test it out. Now, there's actually ways that you can do this. Yes, you can go do a tour, or you can go rent one for a day. Yes, we're talking to Ross from Cape Cobra Hire. Ross has been on the TV show with us. We've been to his shop. He's a great guy. Great stuff. Tour stuff that he's doing is absolutely amazing. Enjoy the show. So on the show, we have got Ross. Thank you so much for being on the show, sir.
Pleasure, Joe. Cool, man. Great to see you again.
How's things going at Cape Cobra Hire?
Man, it's actually been pretty awesome. All things considered, not a bad season. I mean, the business is seasonal, weather-related, tourism-related in terms of the rental of cars. But we have four arms to the business. Rental being our core. Is picture quality all right?
No, it's all perfect. Don't stress.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, so rentals are good. We actually had a good season, despite COVID, in spite of COVID. So our international business shifted slightly. A lot of countries didn't come, but new countries came. So a lot of Russian business, a lot of Gauteng business. In fact, the Russian business has been phenomenal, and the great thing about the Russians, they are very social media oriented. So the moment they post their costs and they do their social media shares, we get bookings the next day. So that's been a nice lesson for us as well. The Gautengers, a lot of local Gautengers, a lot of black clients. Fantastic. Interesting observation. A lot of the guys booked to come down and go onto the Atlantis dunes, to do the quads and to do the sandboarding on Atlantis. And then they picked up on us and they joined, they booked Cobras as a result. And that social media share again saw a spike in bookings, which was fantastic for us. So from a rental point of view, we can't complain. It's been given the circumstances, not a bad season. Up until June, we actually had a good run. The weather, July, obviously things go quiet. But then we fell with our bums in the butter. We landed quite a big contract to source 30 vehicles and motorcycles for a European client. So we've been buying up a lot of left-hand drive classics, some Cobras.
Oh, wow.
Cadillacs, Plymouths, Common Gears, whatever left-hand drives you can find, and that's what we've been shipping out. And then he called me a few weeks back and he needed 20 Harleys. So we've been buying up all the big bruisers and shipping them out, which is fantastic. So, really good. And then, we do maintenance, we do repaints, we do a lot of refurbs for clients as well. And our refurb side has been pretty busy. In the shop now, we've got 4 projects, 2 bulls, 2 paint jobs and interiors. So yeah, you know what? And sales, we sell as well. Last week I sold 2 Cobras. I buy, I flip, or I take consignment cars. So when you add everything into the pot, we really can't complain, or we shouldn't complain.
To me, you guys were always. Oh, we've got a lot of feedback on the camera, on the mic there. Oh, don't worry, it's gone now. Okay.
Okay.
I always found that with you guys, now for those guys in South Africa that wants to own an AC Cobra and not sure if they're going to enjoy it, and that wants to get the feel, you guys are the perfect solution for that. To come
It
in and
is.
feel what it feels like to actually, because I mean, we all know owning a muscle car is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's not the most difficult as well, it's and I think that for me that is the biggest part of the equation. People are scared, and they're scared by a lot of shysters, unfortunately. Guys who overpromise and underdeliver, and then they burn their fingers, and then it becomes a problem. So, just on the Cobra side, whenever somebody calls me, they're looking for a car, I say, what, come to the shop, take a car. I take them for a ride, and I say, and then they start talking about Jag suspension. They want a BMW suspension Cobra. I said, you know what? Do you know why you want what you want? And they don't. They've just heard Jag is difficult and Jag. I said, come and put your bum in the seat, take the car for a ride, and you'll be pleasantly surprised by both, because they're different. And parts are available for everything, Jag suspensions included. And when you really sort of dig down, what do you need? What parts do you ever need? A starter now and again, an alternator, but which can be repaired. Diff bearings, if you're going to ride stupidly, which everything's available. So what really breaks and goes wrong badly? Nothing. And the American stuff, the muscle stuff, is actually cheaper than any of the Hyundais and Kias. Go and fix your Audi, go and fix your BMW. Look at the bill and look at what what it's costing you to fix a Cobra. A brand new car is 6K. It's like, try and fix your fuel injection or your computer. You aren't looking at a 6K bill, no way, Jose. So,
well, the big thing that guys need to remember. Oh, that's for very bad feedback. The big thing that guys need to remember is AC is a driving car. It's not assisted. It doesn't have all the fancy things and this type of stuff. So you have to be aware when you drive it, because it is extremely light. It's got a lot of power that sits behind it, and it's a full-on driving car. I think that's more the thing that guys need to get used to when it gets into
use it.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. I'm not a lover of garage queens. I never have been. I don't. Firstly, it's too much effort to have a car looking like a polished diamond all day long. A car's got to be used, and the Cobra's got to be used. There's nothing nicer than a car that's got a bit of patina, that's actually got a scratch here, got a ding there. A car that's been used, leather that's worn. Everything doesn't have to work perfectly. It's quirky. And that's half the fun. You know what? Half the fun of owning a Cobra is wrenching on it yourself. And when guys buy cars from me, I tell them, look, don't be scared. If it needs to be fixed, I'll fix it. But I would rather help you to fix your own car. Become knowledgeable. And if you don't feel like fixing it, then I'll fix it for you. I want them to take the carb off and put a carb on and learn about it. And when a freaking accelerator cable breaks, it's not the end of the world. There's solutions, quick fixes. And that for me is half of the tactile fun of owning a classic. We've all been in a muscle car and the accelerator cable broke. And you know what? You find a piece of wire and you pull it through the bonnet and off you ride with a hand-drawn accelerator. And and you feel good about it. So people shouldn't be scared of it.
You have that I fix something feeling, Or how do we say it's working? It's not fixed. It's just it's working. It's two completely different things. No, but like I said, that what brings gets the love and stuff through to it. Now, where are you guys going now? So I mean, it's December. It's downtime. Now you guys are now getting ready for the next season again to start building up.
Yeah. So the car's in pretty good shape. So we don't have a lot of fleet maintenance, and the fleet's pretty good. We've got one car we want to paint. We refresh our paint and we go through interiors and that sort of thing. But we are very busy with customer jobs at the moment. So a lot of big client jobs that we're busy with. And the fleet we upgrade, we take our having said, I take my oldest cars. Some of my most reliable cars are the oldest cars. I've got cars that have been in the fleet since 2005, and they work every day, and we don't have a problem with them. So when you talk about reliability, testimony to the fact that, testimony to the Chev engine, okay? Because the Ford engines don't give us the same kind of service, unfortunately. So we run Chevy 5.7 liter small blocks, and best decision I could have taken to actually run with the American motor firstly, the Chevy secondly, and the turbo 350s or 400s, because our maintenance is just negligible. Once you fix them, they go forever. Tune them properly, get the right fuel system going, and you are pretty sorted. So I'm lucky where that's concerned. And the season, we would have had a record year this year, or rather, when I say this year, 2020 and 2021, because we had probably about 12 to 15 group tours, and the group tours are all 15 to 20 cars, and quite a few of them were garden route tours, so 10 days up the garden route, which is all big ticket. So very much like going on a yacht cruise. You take a muscle car or Cobra, and they go up to Naisna, and we go with support vehicles, and they do a 10-day different stopover every night, 5 days up or 6 days up and 4 days back. And that's a really nice part of our business. A lot of those groups couldn't travel, but they've all rebooked. None of them have canceled. They've all just deferred their traveling arrangements. So now we're sitting with a problem where we have too many group bookings. We have too many tours booked, because you've got last year's canceled tours that want to come, and we've got next year's groups coming as well. And we have an upsurge in local, bookings. So it's like, I've got a fleet of 20 Cobras, and I'm thinking,
you're going to have to up that.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do? So, but a nice problem to have, to be honest.
That is a very good problem to have, and especially with these days and coming through. On what you said with the 350, I think what makes the 350 such a nice motor, especially for what you guys do, is Chevys don't mind heat as much as Fords do. So especially from where you guys are, you're always in traffic, getting in and out and that type of stuff. You all sit and look, that is the most tiring thing of driving an old car, is you have to always look at the gauges. It doesn't matter what you do, you always have to scan your gauges and see what keeps going on, what's going with what the car is doing. But these long tours that you do, that gives a lot of guys an opportunity to find out. Now, obviously, I've been in the running thing, so I've done an enormous amount of road trips and then this type of stuff. But you can't explain to people the camaraderie and everything, and why guys always want to go do these long trips. And until you do something like this tour, you don't get it. You
exactly. You say that it's not just the muscle car guys. There's a whole bunch of people out there looking for alternative vacations. They're sick and tired of the safe hotel and Ibiza kind of scenario. They're wanting adventure. And I think that is probably what I'm finding more so now. People are looking for a sense of adventure. And they're not risk averse. They accept and appreciate that things can go wrong. And that's all part of the whole journey or part of the vacation. We had 2 years ago, we had a classic car group that booked some Cobras with us. We sent 3 Cobras up to Addo Park, actually. They did a tour up to Port Elizabeth. They took 3 Cobras, and there were 12 other cars in there, from Bentleys and classic. There was a Lagonda. There was a lot of British marques that came, but Jensen. Guys, they shipped the cars from UK, from Switzerland, from Germany, containerized it, shipped it here just for the store. Some of them didn't want to ship their car. It was just too expensive. They rented cars from us. And the only issue we had, no punctures. We put new tires in the cars to ensure, because you can't carry a spare wheel. They had a backup vehicle that carried bits and pieces. The only problem we had was head header bolts on the one car came loose at Muscle Bay, and they had to go and sort of redo the branch. But that was it, you know. So again, look, these were classic car cars, so they weren't pushing the cars to the limits. They were just ambling along. But the cars are reliable. You know what? It's fluids and water, and as long as you've got a good rad and a good fan, you're driving it respectfully, the car will go forever. It's not a big deal.
Well, you know, coming back to what you said with guys that just keep cars in the garage, you know, the guys that keep cars and don't want to drive them because they're too scared it's going to scratch, those are the cars that end up giving the most problems, because they're made to drive. Everything's made to be driven and made to go and tick over every day.
Flat spots, bearings, you know, fuel pipes, all sorts of things go wrong and the car doesn't get used.
Exactly.
And that was a lesson. I mean, with first lockdown, we weren't allowed to go into, we were classified as a non-essential service. We had to shut the shop. And now you're sitting with 20 cars with fuel in the tanks, you know, cooking up a storm in a warehouse.
Yes.
And when we could go back 2 months later, then we had to go and replace fuel pipes and replace float mechanisms, and it was mostly fuel related issues. But yeah, you know, it was, and then you had to check rubbers and check this and check that. But that was a little bit of a problem, but fortunately nothing major. But yeah, you know, car shouldn't sit. A car's got to roll. You've got to move it. It's got to get hot. It's got to get cold. It's got to move. It's got to, you know, I don't like cars that sit still. They don't have to look the best. They must be reliable. They must work. You know, that's important.
I love this old patina look at the moment, where guys keep the body and everything same. So like you said, there's a few imperfections in it. As long as structurally it's perfect, but the motor is clean, the interior is clean, everything that you see is good, you know.
What I love are the trucks with brand, I mean, an old truck with a brand spanking new motor, great suspension, and they've got this beautiful soft Napa hide interior. It's like, wow, you know, this is awesome.
But I'm glad to hear that everything is moving, man, and I'm glad to hear that things are expanding. And it's amazing, like you said, how like it's always the case. When one door closes, another door opens, and all of a sudden now you guys have a new line going in. You know,
and this is look, for me, the biggest upside with COVID is probably new markets. The Russians discovered us, so that's been fantastic. We were getting a lot of Brazilians, a lot of South Americans the year before. None of them traveled, but we're getting bookings all the time for next year. So interestingly enough, people want to travel. They're just waiting for travel bans to be lifted. Nobody is not traveling. They're not traveling only because flights are not available or it's just very difficult. And you know, there's another side to this whole story, Joe, and that is talking to people from all over the world. And we get clients from literally every continent and every country. They love this place. They love Cape Town. You know, they come back and they say, wow, we want to move here, we want to live here. And I wish more of our own people would actually see what our guests see, what our tourists see, because it's pretty awesome, you know.
I do. I love it.
So it's join the club.
So thank you so much for being on the show. I'm trying to keep these things shorter these days. I've been being yelled at for my shows being getting too long. But I need to come do one of these tours with you. Definitely.
We must do a ride and do a photo shoot and give the guys a bit of a exposure on what's happening out there.
All right, so I'll see what I can do. You see what you can do. But thanks so much for being on the show, man.
Pleasure. And I'll let you pleasure. And I'll let you know about what groups are coming up and tell me what you want to join.
Let's do that. All right, cool. Okay, Meneer. You have a good one.
Joe, go well.
Okay.
Thanks,
Cheers.
man.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.